You never know what you're gonna find here. So I come here when I need some inspiration, when I need like that one vintage item to make a brand new house feel really homey and welcoming and different. One of my favorite things to do is to pick or go vintage shopping. And the cool thing is because I have this warehouse, I'm able to buy things that I like, but I don't necessarily have a spot for, knowing that in the future I'll use it in one of my projects. I think it's really important to add some things into any design that feel like they have a story. So it's something that has some rust on it, or the paint's peeling a bit, or just like something that you're not scared to sit on. If everything's brand new and everything feels like so fresh and sterile that you walk in and you're like, I don't know what to do, that's not a good thing. You want to just walk into a space, feel immediately at home and welcomed and comfortable. The rules to vintage shopping are you literally just go and you just look around, and if there's something that you like or that you think it's cool, that's what you should buy.
I'm looking for something for a family that loves sports. I need something like a coffee table.
I like to add one piece of vintage per room. If I have a living room, what is that one thing in that room that's vintage? Maybe it's something that's on the wall, a really cool piece of art or an object that you've hung. I think one piece per room is a great rule. There are some things that you definitely do not want to buy vintage, like a mattress, a couch, pillows, a new comforter for your bed. Probably not the best things to buy vintage. Depending on what you're looking for, it can be helpful to go shopping with some rough dimensions.
Let's see if we can find something for that back area. 36, it's too tall.
The one thing about vintage is you can't return it. I love styling shelves and using vintage items in unexpected ways. So as you stack your books and the things that you want to have on your shelves, like family photos and plants, it's fun to mix in a few vintage items that are really conversation starters. I do buy a lot of vintage signs that I use for art. So maybe it's an old street sign, maybe it's an old real estate sign, but using old signs is something that I feel like really sets my designs apart. I love a good vintage locker. The cool thing about lockers is not only do they look really industrial and vintage, they actually are really functional. I mean, I've built them into designs, I've used them as tables, I've used them as bar carts. People think it's really fun, and yeah, I use lockers all the time.
Each of these bins would be able to hold like a lot of stuff.
Oh, for sure, and you could lock them too if you need to.
I love the look of it,
Yeah.
but it's too narrow.
Well, I have another one that's identical to that. Maybe if you put them two together, then it would be the right width.
That is a good size coffee table.
That would be.
So I've got these lockers that I got from Patrick. I'm gonna make them into a coffee table. So now I need to connect these two sets of lockers back to back, which is gonna make one big kind of base for my tabletop. I'm gonna use self-tapping screws. So these screws are cool because they're made to go through metal. So you don't have to pre-drill for them. They have this point that right through the middle. So I have this solid maple top. This is what's gonna hold these lockers together and make it really feel like a piece of furniture. So I'm using this construction adhesive because I don't want this tabletop to ever come off. This has gotta be really, really sturdy. How's it look?
Great.
Having a nice soft rug in the new family room with this like metal locker on top of it with the wood top, it just makes everything feel like it's thought out.
Sometimes I do know what I'm looking for. So for example, the entry of this house, I felt like I needed something really big for this wall. And when I saw these vintage ladders, I had an idea. I figured I could turn them on their side and turn them into some sort of a living wall to really fill this long space up to the entry.
I bought these little planters that I'm going to screw in to the ladder, and then I'll put the plant in there. Oh, that looks so pretty. We have a variety of sage, and then this ivy. You can kind of get the feel for how it's gonna look. I'm gonna go see what it looks like on the wall.
So I knew I was gonna paint this big wall in the entry a really crisp, fresh white. And so I knew I wanted some contrast against that. Because everything else is gonna be so nice and new out here, I thought something vintage would really set off this wall. So the vintage ladders have kind of like a gray tone to the wood. It contrasts the white really nice. And then by adding this metallic accent, it's an unexpected finish. And of course, you always need some green.
This is all stuff that was either in the trash or that I've set aside for upcoming projects. So like, for example, this is an old mailbox. I don't know what I'm gonna do with this. I have yet to figure that out. And the cool thing is I was able to purchase it when I saw it. I know I love it. Someday you'll see this in one of my projects. This really cool vintage bar, for example, this door right here, these are things that have already been tagged for upcoming projects. I just have to build the house in order to put the things into the house.
You never know what you're gonna find. So half the fun is not necessarily knowing what you're going to look for. This is where I get a lot of my inspiration. I find things that I don't even know what they are, I've never seen them before, and figuring out how to integrate those things into my new designs is really fun.
So I actually found these lights the other day. I'm really excited about them. And there were 2 of them available. So these are like old vintage. I mean, talk about an awesome way to add like a pop of color in a room. So if I do a new project, everything's brand new, and I hung these lights, it would look really good. So one of my favorite things to do is actually put old doors in new construction. I found this old door.
That's great.
From one of my picker friends. And we can use this door as the pantry door. And I feel like this piece was made for it. Vintage, but still kind of contemporary. Instead of having all the doors just matching and brand new, once in a while I'll throw in a vintage door. This door, it's really heavy, it's well made. I saw it at the swap meet and I was like, I have to get this door. I didn't know where I was gonna use it. I'm actually gonna use it as a pantry door in one of my new construction projects.
1 or 2 pieces can really set off a design and make a home feel really welcoming.